instead of we're again attending the High Holy Days virtually instead of in the tent of past years. It's a little bit strange and some things may be a bit rough, but we'll worship together as Jews have done for millennia. You may feel more connected with your video on, but the choice is yours. Please keep your audio muted except when you are speaking. Take breaks as needed. The community will keep the prayers going. A small but mighty group have put together these services for tonight and tomorrow. I want to be sure to acknowledge Christine and Eric Gatson-Michalak, who are running the technical end of the service and who have been a pleasure to work with. If you need help, you can use the chat box to ask them for help. Also, regarding the chat box, let's leave it clear for those who need help until we get to the parts of the service where we share names at Kaddish and at the prayers for the sick. 10 days ago, we began the cycle of the Yamim Noraim, the days of awe. Over the next 24 hours, we will experience the peak of that time, the Day of Atonement. Whether you fast or not, whether you read Hebrew or not, whatever your comfort level, know that you are part of a Kehila Kadoshah, a holy community, and we are here to support one another. To celebrate that and remind ourselves of that, we will begin with Hine Matov, It is Good to Be Together, sung by cantorial soloist Joel Siegel and members of our choir.
Hine Matov Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad.
So now we'll take a minute to share Yom Kippur greetings with each other. We don't usually say Happy Yom Kippur because it's a time for serious reflection, but we sometimes say in Hebrew, Gemar Chatima Tova, may you be sealed for life, or we might say Tzom Kal, have an easy fast. And I was wondering, is there anybody here who could share one of those in another language? If so, raise your hand. I'd love to call on you. Any Spanish speakers or French speakers? Japanese speakers, Chinese speakers? Watching for hands here. You will also find that some people say Tzom Kasher, may you have a kosher feast. Okay. Well, then we're going to move on here. I don't see any hands. If I'm missing you, I apologize for that. So that we're going to go on and go to our, in a moment, we'll go to breakout rooms. You'll be sent to a room with a few other households. So don't be scared. You're not lost. Your screen will change. Just see who you wind up with. It's a random selection, and say what brought you here. Introduce yourself. I encourage you to turn on your video or screen if possible. There'll be a timer at the top of the screen. And you will need to mute and unmute yourself and keep an eye on the timer. You'll be in the room for 4 minutes. We'll give you a 2-minute warning. So have a good breakout group.
I'm muted too. I'm going to go look for that talit. I don't know what I did with it. Christine, are you monitoring?
Monitoring what?
Just want to know if you were listening in. Something I think I was not clear about. When we do Kol Nidre, which is coming up, we'll do the instruments first, and then I will sing last.
Got it.
Thank you.
Hello, Isaac. Glad to have you with us.
We're at 43 seconds plus 30 seconds once everyone starts coming back.
It's kind of magical watching everybody come back. Perhaps this is where we should have sung a Return Again.
Or another Hine Matov.
Yeah. Such a beautiful kahal.
I need to troubleshoot the fact that my computer should be plugged in but isn't.
Run by Ruth.
Okay, so we're going to continue with a poem by Yehuda Amichai, the Israeli poet. The Place Where We Are Right. From the place where we are right, flowers will never grow. In the spring, the place where we are right is hard and trampled like a yard. But doubts and loves dig up the world like a mole, a plow, and a whisper will be heard in the place where the ruined house once stood. Now we're going to begin the very famous and traditional prayer of Kol Nidre, which means all vows. It will start with music. We listen to it 3 times, 2 times instrumentally, and then Joel will chant it for us. So now, Kol Nidre.
Feel free to sing along at home if you like. Kol nidre vesare vaharame vekoname vechinuye vechinuse ushvut din darna ud ishtebana ud aharimna ud aharimna v'diasarna al nafshatana. Miyom Kippurim ze ad Yom Kippurim haba aleinu letova kulhon iharatna v'hon kulhon yehon sharan Shevitin Metelin Umvutalin La Sheririn Vela Kayamin Nidrana La Nidre Vesarana la esare Ushvuatana la Shavuot.
Thank you so much, Joel. That was beautiful. I also want to recognize that Yehudit played the violin and Stefan was on the saxophone. Now
both
we're
of
going
you.
to visit some homes before candle lighting. And I'm going to introduce you and ask people to light in their homes. First, Gina Kessler Lee. Are you with us tonight?
Yes, I am with Asher.
Lovely. Hello, Asher. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. And Rachel Scholl, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Hi.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. That greeting works all the way through the season. Beautiful. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Jessica Kirkpatrick. And your
Hi.
bounty helper.
For having us. Thanks for stepping in for Rabbi Bridget, Rabbi Ruth.
My
And
pleasure.
my can't matches aren't working. Sorry. All right.
And thank you. That's lovely. And finally, I'd like to ask Katie and Scott Williams and family to light.
Hello. Hi.
Beautiful. Look at all these beautiful families and faces and kitty cats and dogs and babies and children. Beautiful faces.
I'm missing Jupiter and Saturn. I think I need to see them. If you were not one of the families called, feel free to also light if you haven't lit already. And if you have some light in front of you, there's a custom, just like on Shabbat, to draw the light into you symbolically with a threefold gathering in. And once we're there, again, take a breath and we'll sing the bracha together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel yom hakippurim. And on the next slide, the bracha we say, the we made it bracha. Whenever we make it to a new time, a special time. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sheheyanu v'kiyemanu v'hegianu lazman hazeh.
Now we've reached the time for, we've done our warm up to prayer, our welcoming of the holiday, and now we're going to get down to business, praying. We do that with the Baruch Hu, which means bless. It's a command. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. When I call on the light of my soul, I come home.
We return again to that home of our soul. If you wish, you can rise in body or spirit in whatever way works for your body and for your spirit. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. We join together. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed.
Now, another invocation to get ready to say the Shema. So we open up our eyes and our souls to the message of the Shema.
Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one, and we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. You're muted, Rabbi.
Now we've come to the time for the silent Amidah. There are two mitzvot that we fulfill by attending a service. One is the mitzvah of saying the Shema when we lie down and when we rise up. The other one is the Amidah, which stands in for all of the ancient sacrifices. Instead of sacrificing animals, we make a sacrifice of praise and thanksgiving. Traditionally, one stands for this prayer. Traditionally, the congregation prays silently during part of this prayer. I invite you to lift your spirits, however works best for you, either with posture by standing or some other means. You'll see me put my talit over my head. There is a beautiful meditation on the Amidah written by Rabbi Rami Shapiro on your screen. You can use that, or just use these few minutes to pray silently in your heart, and we will all pray together.
Oseh Shalom Bimroma הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל יושבי תבל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל יושבי תבל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Joel. And now a little bit of sermonizing. I know I'm not telling you anything you don't already know when I say we are living in times that are genuinely frightening. We meet tonight virtually because there is a deadly virus circulating in our world. And so we refrain from gathering in person because we want to live and we want our neighbors to live. We are living through a time of political unrest. Whatever our individual political positions, I think we can agree we've never seen times quite like these before. We are living in a time when the world teems with refugees, people unsettled here in the United States and around the world, people who do not have a place to call home, people who are suffering. We are facing the realities of climate change. Our state is literally on fire, while other parts of the country face killer storms. We are suffering through a drought, while other parts of the country and the world are drowning. And personally, we each have stories of injury and loss. Our beloved Rabbi Bridget is recovering from a fall that injured her badly. Some have lost jobs. Some have lost their homes. Some need medical care but cannot access it. Tomorrow we will read a prayer called the Unatana Tokef, the Yom Kippur prayer that affirms that we don't really know what may happen in the coming year. Who will live and who will die, who will suffer and who will have comfort, and so on. Even in an easy year, it is a difficult prayer. Last year, and even more so this year, it has terrible resonance because the times are so uneasy. What's a Jew to do? Our tradition is actually quite clear on this, and it offers us resources. Jewish tradition does not encourage us towards empty optimism. Instead, it encourages us to remain hopeful in a muscular sort of hope. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks of blessed memory was the chief rabbi of the United Kingdom, a major Jewish voice in the 20th and 21st century. He wrote, "Optimism is the belief that things will get better. Hope is the belief that together we can make things better. Optimism is a passive virtue, hope an active one. It takes no courage, only a certain naivety to be an optimist. It takes courage to sustain hope. No Jew, knowing what we do of the past, of hatred, bloodshed, persecution, suppression of human rights in the name of freedom, no Jew can be an optimist. But Jews have never given up hope. It's true. We as a people have been through some truly terrible times over the millennia. Our temples were destroyed twice. We lived in exile for centuries. We suffered the Inquisition and the Holocaust. But we have never, as a people, lost hope. Hope, the belief that we can make change for the better, is baked into our tradition. The book of Genesis begins with a statement of hope. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim v'et haaretz. When God was beginning to make the heavens and the earth, that's how it begins. The Torah's first words, Bereshit bara Elohim, when God was beginning to create, those words hold hope. The Torah tells us the creation is not finished, and God is not finished with creation. Nothing is a done deal. Change is still possible. That's hope. In Exodus, Moses asks for God's name. God answers with a mysterious name, Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, I will be what I will be. All a translator can say for sure about it is that the name of God is in the future tense. Again, things are not done, not finished. Judaism focuses on the future. In the book of Ruth, the widow Naomi gives up hope. She says to her widowed daughters-in-law, even if I thought there was hope for me, even if I were married tonight and I also bore sons, should you wait for them to grow up? One way to look at the book is to say that it is the story of how Naomi lost all hope of grandchildren. And then at the end, she gets a grandson and hope is reborn. Jewish hope is not mindless optimism. It looks at a difficult, sometimes cruel world and says, we can fix this. Sometimes it has to be very tough-minded. As the poet Yehuda Amichai wrote, and I said to myself, that's true. Hope needs to be like barbed wire to keep out despair. Hope must be a minefield. Those are ugly images, but I think the poet is onto something important. The opposite of hope is despair, and we must not despair if there is to be hope. Many of the Jewish texts that speak of hope talk about hope in God. That may be very comforting if we have an idea of God that is very personal, or it may be a challenge if our idea of God is more abstract. When I read those texts, I remember that we are God's hands in the world. Whatever God is, that great mystery, God is still creating the world, but now God does it with our hands, our brains, and our determination. How does that work? A person who lives a life of Torah does their best to keep the mitzvot, the commandments in the Torah. They are following God's directions as expressed in our Torah to the best that they understand them. When such a person feeds the hungry, God is feeding the hungry. When such a person welcomes a stranger, God is welcoming that stranger. When a person who lives a life of Torah takes action to save the earth, God is saving the earth. So now I look out through this screen at all of you, and I feel my faith renewed. Members of this congregation stepped up this high holidays to take care of one another while Rabbi Bridget was injured. You are continuing to do mitzvot even while your rabbi and teacher has to be out sick. You lift one another up. You speak kindly and truthfully. You do what needs to be done. That is Jewish hope. We have what it takes to survive difficult times, to learn what can be learned, to record what can be recorded, to remember those who need to be remembered. We can do this. As Rabbi Sachs wrote, no Jew can be a mindless optimist, knowing what we know about how low humanity can go. But Jews and those who love Jews, those who are part of our mixed multitude, our Erev Rav, can face reality. we can all face reality together and have a quiet resolve that we will do our part to heal this troubled world. We will not give up hope. So I want to finish this sermon tonight with a quotation from the end of Psalm 27, a psalm about hope, a psalm that challenges us to keep walking forward, to keep on keeping mitzvot, to keep on doing what needs to be done in the world. Kaveh el Adonai, hazak ve'amatz libecha, ukaveh el Adonai. Hope in the Eternal One. Be strong and of good courage. Oh, hope in the eternal. Hope in one another. Hazak ve'amatz. Be strong and of good courage. Let's say it together in our homes to each other. Hazak ve'amatz. Ken yehi ratzon. May it be God's will. Amen.
Ken yehi ratzon.
And now we come to a beautiful, beautiful prayer from the book of Exodus. Adonai, Adonai.
This is, in fact, as Rabbi Ruth mentioned in her sermon, Moses asked God God's name, and Moses replied with that rather cryptic response. Later on in the story, after a little incident with a golden calf and what comes after that, Moses is rather shell-shocked, and he says to God, I want to see you. God says, sorry, you can't do that. But I'm going to place you in a cleft of a rock, and I will go by, and you will see my back, and you will hear my name. And this was the mysterious name that came out of that story. It's not a name exactly, it's a set of attributes, a set of characteristics, the way God describes God's self as behaving towards human beings. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Chesed V'Emet, Notzer Chesed La'alafim, Nosei Avon V'Afesha, V'Hata'a V'Nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, compassion and tenderness, patience, forbearance, kindness, awareness, bearing love from age to age, lifting guilt and mistakes, and making us free. Rabbi Ruth, you're muted.
A Shamnu is an acrostic. It goes through the Hebrew alphabet with the names of prayers. It may not be an easy task to confront our feelings and actions, still more daunting to name them, perhaps most difficult to speak them. Now we will speak of and chant them together. Let us be bold enough to see, humble enough to feel, and daring enough to turn.
I think we know this tune. If you don't, you'll have it very quickly. There is a custom among some Jews of striking the heart, the chest, gently usually with a closed hand, upon saying this alphabet of misdeeds, which we say together as a community. We're not singling anybody out. It's a tough gesture. We're not, we're not trying to hurt ourselves here. We are, maybe if our hearts are hard, we're just trying to shake things up a little bit and open it up. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ashamanu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu dofi. Ay, 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 ay. He'avinu vehirshanu, zadnu, hamasnu, tafalnu sheker, ya'atznu ra, kizavnu, latznu, maradnu, niatznu, sararnu, avinu, pashanu, sararnu, kishinu oref. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 Rashanu, Shihatnu, Tiavnu, Ta'ihinu, Tihitanu. We now go to the same list with a bit of translation and explanation of each. And I'm just going to check with Rabbi Ruth because my notes aren't clear. This is where we're going to alternate back and forth, right? Okay, I will begin, and you can again at home say with me in Hebrew or with Rabbi Ruth in English each line as we go. Ashamnu,
We have sinned against others.
Bagadnu,
We have betrayed people who trusted us.
Gazalnu,
We have stolen people's money, time, or friendship.
Dibarnu dofi,
We have used words to mislead, create barriers, and as weapons.
He'avinu,
Our actions have led others to evil.
Vehirshanu,
We have encouraged others to do evil.
Zadnu,
We have refused to admit that we could be wrong.
Hamasnu,
We have manipulated others.
Tafalnu sheker,
We preferred to believe lies rather than accept the truth.
Ya'atznu ra,
We have been bad examples to others.
Kizavnu,
We have lied.
Latznu,
We have made light of the pain of others.
Maradnu,
We have created unnecessary strife.
Niatznu,
We have dishonored God in the way we live our lives.
Sararnu,
We have lived as though there were no spiritual element in our lives.
Avinu,
We have done what we know to be wrong to get what we want.
Pashatnu,
We have ignored the pain of others.
Sararnu,
We have oppressed.
Kishinu oref,
We have persistently done deeds that hurt ourselves and others.
Rashatnu,
We have been violent.
Shihatnu,
We have let our impulses rule our lives.
Tiavnu,
We have degraded ourselves.
Tainu,
We've gone astray.
Titanu.
We have led others astray.
For all of these things, we ask one thing of you, God. Please forgive us. Please return us. Please grant us a new life in the coming year. Ve'al סליחות. סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו. Hope you'll feel free to sing along at home too. ועל כולם אלוהים סליחות. סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו. For all of these, we ask one thing of you. Forgive us, return us, grant us life anew. ועל כולם אלוהים סליחות. סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו. For all of these, we ask one thing of you. Forgive us, return us, grant us life anew. ועל כולם אלוהים סליחות. סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו. סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו.
And now we come to that portion of the service where we recite Avinu Malkeinu. First, Joel is going to be singing for us, and then we're going to have readings from Kay Schwartz and Robin Blum. A note, just because for some of us, the more Hebrew you know, the harder it is to say this prayer in some ways. It's the traditional wording Avinu Malkeinu means our Father, our King. For some people, that's useful imagery, and for others, it's not. For some people, it's our parent, our source. And for others, God is the great mystery. And I find that when I'm in a particularly cranky feminist sort of mood, that simply Avinu Malkeinu is the great mystery. And that addressing it that way is helpful. Addressing the prayer that way is helpful. So Joel, if you will sing for us, that would be wonderful.
Love it if you join me. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu va'aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu va'aneinu, ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, ve'hoshienu. O Mother and Father of lights, please hear us and give us your grace. Our guide deep within us, oh hear us and give us compassion and mercy and peace. Oh guide us through your grace. justice and mercy to all. Oh, guide us and teach us, grant justice and mercy. We shall be free once again. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu v'aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu v'aneinu, ki ein banu ma'asim.
Now we'll hear from Kay Schwartz, who is a member of the Torah study group.
Our Father, our King, teach us how to make this year a new beginning. Our Mother, our Queen, teach us how to grow from the harshness of life. Our source and our destiny, teach us to accept what we are powerless to change. Our guide and our truth, teach us to change what must be changed. Our Father, our King, teach us how to face disease and death. Our Mother, our Queen, teach us how to enjoy the gifts of life. Our source and our destiny, teach us how to make peace with our enemies. Our guide and our truth, teach us how we can best embrace our heritages.
Thank you.
Thank you. Continuing together. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. O Mother and Father of love, please hear us and give us your grace. Our guide deep within us, oh, hear us and give us compassion and mercy and peace. Oh, guide us through your grace, justice and mercy to all. Oh, guide us and teach us, grant justice and mercy. We shall be free once again. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu.
And now we come to that portion of the service, the Aleinu, our mission statement as a people. So Robin Blum has volunteered to read this for us. Robin is a longtime member of the Musar group.
Thank you. It is up to us to hallow creation, to respond to life with the fullness of our lives. It is up to us to meet the world, to embrace the whole, even as we wrestle with its parts. It is up to us to repair the world and to bind our lives to truth. Therefore, we bend the knee and shake off the stiffness that keeps us from the subtle graces of life and the supple gestures of love. With reverence and thanksgiving, we accept our destiny and set for ourselves the task of redemption.
Thank you, Robin.
And those of us who wish can rise in body or spirit. And the first words say, indeed, that we do bend the knee. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
I now call on Gina Kessler Lee. She is a member of the steering committee and a foundation fellow.
Thank you, Rabbi Ruth. Good evening, everyone. My name is Gina Kessler Lee, and I'm on the Steering Council for Jewish Gateways. I came to Jewish Gateways only about a year and a half ago, but when I discovered Jewish Gateways, I thought, yes, this is what I've been looking for. You see, the synagogue where my family had been going for generations told us that because of a decision my husband and I made about a ritual performed on Jewish boys, our son would not be able to go to Hebrew school or be bar mitzvahed at my family's temple. I was deeply hurt. But eventually, I embraced this as an opportunity to find a Jewish community that would welcome my multiracial interfaith family and be open to all ways of living out our Judaism. And that is when I came across Jewish Gateways. Sorry if you can hear him crying for mama in the background. Jewish Gateways provides a way into Judaism for so many like my family and for those with their own stories. I have heard from parents in our Growing Together program how meaningful it is to be able to learn about Judaism with their children, an amazing approach to religious school that I can't wait to participate in with my family. Jewish Gateways doesn't shy away from the hard conversations our community is yearning to have, like the death cafes that Jim Kirkpatrick started this year, and the Israel-Palestine dialogues recently facilitated by Molly Freeman and Judith Guzman. Jewish Gateways also has intensified our focus on addressing racism in our nation, in American Jewry, and in ourselves, with conversations open to the community and trainings happening for our volunteers behind the scenes. Our focus on providing a place for all family structures, racial and ethnic identities, gender identities, abilities, and levels of familiarity with Jewish practices, led by Rabbi Bridget, is a mission I strongly believe in and am honored to have the opportunity to support. All of you here this evening are supporting Jewish Gateways in your own ways, and I am so grateful for that. Together, we are building the no barriers community that we need and that the East Bay needs. I have been so impressed by the volunteer power that runs so many aspects of this organization. This is one lean operation, and yet we still have costs. Most significantly, being able to pay our rabbi and administrative coordinator and educators and High Holidays musical and technical facilitators. Even in an online year, these costs don't go away. The money we raise for the High Holidays powers our people power for the entire rest of the year. Yet for some reason, this year we're short of the goal you have so generously helped us reach in past years. So I'm going to ask you, think about a number, a contribution that is doable for you. I invite you to close your eyes if you can and visualize yourself writing that number on a check or entering it in our online donation form. Sit with that. Okay, now here's where it gets interesting. I want you to double that number. Now visualize that new number in your checkbook or on the form. Do you see it? Sit with whatever feelings you're feeling. Discomfort is okay. Discomfort can be good. But can you do it? Can we do it to ensure another year of operating costs for Jewish Gateways? Yes, I say with hope, Together we can make things better. Shana Tova, and thank you.
Thank you, Gina.
Shana
Shana
Tova,
Tova.
Gina. Thank you so much. Oh, so we have reached the point in the service where I invite you to either unmute yourselves to say names for Kaddish or to use the chat box to do so. Whatever is going to be more comfortable for you. We're going to take a few minutes to do that. And when time dictates, we will move on to say Kaddish. And I'm going to mute myself while you do it.
Yeah. Herbert Rogers, also known as Armin Rotenstein.
Irv Greenberg,
Pat
Arla
Smith.
Rebecca
William
Galinsky,
And Lerner.
Bernard Galinsky,
Dr.
Dr. Morris Kennedy,
Sally
Rick
Eiferman.
Rubenstein,
Carol Corine.
Whatever, Schwitz.
Hellman,
Robert Kelman.
Linrith Miller.
Irving Wilder, B. Golan, Ruby Golan, Debbie Nichols.
Patricia Buitt. I don't know whether.
Yes, you are.
My mother, Sarah Tova, Bat Sarah, Imenu Abraham Avinu. My father, Baruch Ben Yaakov. My sister, Panina Bat Hadassah. My aunt, Doris Rose. Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Vera Rubenstein,
Edward Froelich.
Barry, the Harrises,
My father, Hyman Goodman. My cousin, Bertin Eisenberg. My sister, Susan Mount. My friend, El Young.
My parents, Irene and Louis Schwartz.
My parents, Rose Gilbert and Louis Wolfe.
For all those who have no one to say Kaddish for them, all those who have died in the last year from the terrible diseases that are disrupting our medical systems so badly, for all those who have died alone, and also in memory of those in our past. I look at this list, I listen to these names, and what I hear is love. And love is eternal. Christine, would you share the next page so we can say Kaddish together, please?
Sure. Can we do the muting everybody?
Yes, everyone, please mute themselves. Okay, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chaye dekol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'izman kari v'emru. Amen.
Amen. Yehi
Yehi
Shemeh
Shmei
Rabba
Rabba
Mevarach.
Mevarach le'olam
Alam ul
Amen.
alamaya yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudesha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehi Shlomo Rabba min Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru, amen.
Amen.
Osei shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ve'imru, amen.
Amen.
May the souls of all of those who mourn be comforted. If there is someone today that you have heard mention a name and you know that they could use some comfort, reach out to them at some point and express that. And now we will listen to the and sing along if you wish to Chazak, which is very much in keeping with the sermon I just gave. Let us be strong and let us strengthen one another.
Let us, before we even begin, let's just remember that these are what you're hearing are voices, each of whom recorded their part in their own space and then was brought together through the magic of technology. And I think there's a lesson for us there. While we sit in our separate homes for the safety of ourselves and the community, we still can gather together and we still can do things as a community to raise our own spirits and to help repair the world. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Be strong and let us celebrate our lives. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek. Chazak, chazak. We gather here from near and far to raise our voice in song. And the more we join in the refrain, the more we feel strong. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek. There is a power in this place and time that shapes the rest of our lives. For when we return each year, we find a truth we can't deny. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Be strong and let us celebrate our lives. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek. As we sing, we link ourselves to those who came before. And we're all one with all those yet to come. Our strength, it will endure. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Be strong and let us celebrate our lives. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Chazak, chazak. Be strong and let strengthen one another. Be strong and let us celebrate our lives. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Hazak, Hazak. Be strong, be strong. Hazak, Hazak. ונתחזק.
This brings us to the close of our service tonight. We're going to have breakout rooms so we can touch base with each other. However you observe Yom Kippur in your home, I wish you a blessed night, a night of peace, of good sleep, of deep reflection. Thank you so much for praying here with me. Join us again tomorrow to bring this kahal together for more beautiful davening. Now we'll go to the breakout rooms. L'shana tova.
L'shana